Oh, well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. How are you? Well, so sorry. I waited 2 days for um, for this series of messages to begin because obviously I've been very busy doing such and such. Not to mention, I've also procrastinated and all that. And I've been exercising, and I just wanted to let you know I've lost 31 pounds in 2 months. Anyway, enough said. I want to get to you on the series of messages that talks about um, sharing, downloading, or pirating copyright materials over the internet may be a sin. Now, and here's the reason why. Downloading material has never been simpler because with the click of a mouse or the push of a button on a photocopier or scanner, we can copy and distribute electronics and printed material. Now, the copy and the use of somebody else's material is absolutely common when, unless we have secure permission to do so, as far as Etsy is concerned. And I'm going to explain that to you once the series of messages is over. It's a wrong answer. Now, if you have your Bible or your Bible app, this will explain that we are to obey under the laws of the government we live under. That's Romans 13, verses 1 through 7. That is one of the key issues at stake here. God commands us in this one to obey governmental authorities. The only allowance we have for disobeying the authorities is if they demand that we disobey something God has commanded. That's Acts 5:29. Due to copyright laws, it is absolutely legally wrong to download, pirate, or share copyrighted materials without the permission of the artist, author, or publisher. And absolutely, unless if they say it is okay and that you have the decency to hurry. That's the only time you can upload things. Now, since God commands us to obey the law, the practice of digital internet piracy is a sin where it is illegal. Around the year 2000, Napster opened the door to this internet. Copyright issue was subsequently faced with lawsuits that led to a site shutdown and bankruptcy, especially, and even though the consequences of internet piracy are clear, there are still countless file sharing sites that enable people to continue pirating copyrighted material due to lawsuits. Many of these sites require a fee for music and movie downloads and restrict the ability to share these downloads with each other. Now, the issue of copying and sharing copyrighted material is more than a legal matter itself. There are ethical and moral considerations too. Taking somebody else's property without permission and behind one's back is absolutely stealing. And intellectual property is still property. The songwriter who worked to produce a song has earned compensation because the worker deserves his wages. Luke 10:7. When a song is copied and is given to someone else, that is one less sale that could have been made. The artist loses whatever small percentage of the royalty he has earned up to this point. The same principle holds true for pirating a movie, photocopying a play script, sharing a Sunday school curricula, and loading software. A Christian should never want to steal the property of each other. But that's exactly what happens when we download songs without permission of the publisher and behind the publisher's back, just as it happened many times when another artist copies or plagiarizes the first tune they have ever heard that got sued millions of dollars. Now, a Christian ministry must never want to force somebody to work for them that is absolute for free, but that is the situation that a church photocopies scripts or sheet music without permission or behind one's back. Legally and ethically, we ought to follow copyright laws and provide due compensation to the creators of the works we use. Now, somewhere along the way, I have learned in this series of messages, when I have been receiving, and this is a true story now, and I'm about to admit this, when I received an email from somebody who does digital downloads of television shows from a website, obviously. The person who used to own all the television shows back then was about to be deleting the TV shows somebody owned at the time. And that somebody was working for one of the websites. But the name of the TV show, I can't tell you that. What I can tell you was the name of the TV show I used to purchase last year was Falcon Crest, and with the person's permission, I privately and without publicly uploaded all of my TV shows right on one flash drive. And I did it privately, and that is with permission, and of course, without telling anybody about it. It wasn't the easiest. However, though, I pulled through. It was the hardest decision I ever had to make for myself, between myself and between God. It was one of those things where I had to follow harder instructions, because each year it's gonna get harder. Nothing you ever see is quite that simple. No. It's just there comes a time when there are some risk involved, and it's up to you to make that choice as to whether you want to upload the show or not, because or music or not, really, because if at any time, because if one upload, and if you do this with not behind the person's back, you'll be okay. But if, however, if you do it behind that person's back, then you could be faced with a lot of trouble. And not only you be faced with a lot, not only that, you could get sued millions and millions of dollars. And I do not want you or anybody around the area, and I do not want anybody to take the risk very, very, very seriously. It's up to you to go talk to your librarian, ask someone, or ask the person who owns the shop or the TV shows. Not to mention, make sure you get the final say from that person before you consider uploading the TV shows in the same situation as I am. Like I said, if you make one false move, then not only will you be sued, but you will also be in hot water. And we do not want that to happen. And I know you don't want that to happen. So please think about it. Well, that's all I have to say. Thank you very much. And be blessed, will you? All right. And please read Romans 13:1-7 if you can. Thank you. Goodbye.